So guys, before I get started with this video, there is a spoiler warning. This is my spoiler review. In the description, if you want a spoiler-free review, there is a video that is going to be in the description, or I'll put it in a card in the top right corner. Click that. That is my spoiler-free review where I do not reveal any of the twists and turns in the campaign, and I only talk about the general aspects of it. In this video, we are actually going to be breaking down the thoughts that I have about the Call of Duty Cold War campaign. If you want, there are timestamps down below telling you when I talk about specific things, and that way if you don't want to hear about the story or how it unfolds, then you can skip those ones, or the ending, if you don't want to hear about that, you can skip that one. But anyways guys, let's get right into it. The first point that I want to make. So the first point I actually want to make is about the story. I actually really enjoyed this story because it brought us back to more of a Vietnam/Cold War time, which is one of my favorite times to play the Call of Duty games. I don't know why, but just don't worry about it. I love how you go back and forth between playing in the Vietnam War, and it kind of reminds me of Black Ops 1 because you go back to some of your previous missions where you're in Vietnam because you're trying to remember them. But in this game, you're going back and forth trying to remember it so that way you can solve the code. Another thing, this is a big spoiler warning, when playing through the campaign, there are a lot of things, like this whole campaign is pretty much you remembering a fake past. So if you think about it, if you were to die in these Vietnam missions, it wouldn't make sense in the story. That it's pretty much just them having to restart the simulation. Like you failed your testing that day, and they've got to restart the simulation, and that's why you respawn in the same spot. Sorry, I've got a lifesaver in my mouth. But then at the end, you figure out that you have been pretty much brainwashed the whole time. Another thing I like about the story is that you play as pretty much yourself, because you name the character whatever you want and you get to be that character, and they don't talk, so you are actually that character. But a thing that I don't like about the story is how little you play as Mason, and then with like playing with Woods, because in the campaign, like in the trailers, they advertised Woods and Mason, and it was just false advertisement because you only play as them for like 3 missions, or you're with them because you're with Woods for one of the missions, which is cool and all, but like you're never, I don't think Bell and Mason ever really fight together other than like very select few missions. And even on the missions where Woods is there, he's not important. They focus a lot more on these new characters, which is fine, because if they focus too much on Mason and Woods, it could accidentally, they might say something or do something that kind of fails to set up Black Ops 2 if they're still planning on doing that. But anyways guys, let's move on to my next point. The second thing I want to talk about is the collectibles. So the collectibles in this game is actually called evidence, and the evidence is being built up over the entire campaign, so that way you can figure out this subplot that's going on, which I really enjoy because I like the idea of I am CIA. I am trying to figure out these other murder mysteries or murders that are happening, or people who are working with this person. I like that idea because that's what I wish the first Call of Duty Black Ops would have had, because that's what it was. It was CIA coming in and trying to figure stuff out, but instead of like having you go around and figure out some other things, they kept the Black Ops 1 campaign very linear and only let you do certain things that wasn't like them telling you the story. But in this game, they actually did a really good job. That's all I really wanted to say about that. I haven't gotten all the collectibles, so I can't say too much about it. But anyways, guys, let's move on to my point number 3. Point number 3 is actually the characters and the decisions. So, I don't really care for any of the new characters except for Adler, like Sims, Park, or Lazar. Didn't really care for them. You have a choice to choose either Lazar or Parker, who's the female, and I chose to save Park because I didn't really care for Lazar. And I like how you have a choice there, but I'm pretty sure no matter what you do, because at the end of the campaign when they talk about what they're doing, it pretty much would be like, oh, instead of Parker surviving her injuries and healing up and doing some other, leading another group, it would actually just say Lazar's name, so it's not that big of a change. But like there's some of the decisions you make, like when you're going through the second to last mission, which reminds me a lot of, it was like a callback to Black Ops 1, only it wasn't linear. Like they say, next you went to the right path, and then if you take the left path, he'll be like, okay, you took the left path. And kind of like, it's almost like your brainwashing is failing. So that's all I wanted to say about the decision making on that. I do like the second to last campaign mission because there's so much. It's more of an open world type thing. Like there is certain areas you're supposed to go to, but you don't. you go the other way. That's all cool to me, and that's all I wanted to talk about with that point. The next point I want to talk about is actually how little Mason and Woods are in the game. This is going to be a really quick point. This is one of the reasons that I didn't give it like the campaign a 8 or 9 out of 10. They advertised Woods and Mason so much or not Mason, they advertised Woods so much and how he's going to be such a big role in this game. And maybe he will be. Maybe they'll add new campaign stuff, like maybe what they did with like Spec Ops, except for this one will actually be like mini campaign missions that come out with the DLCs. But as of right now, they did not have Woods or Mason in this game nearly enough to have shown them that much in the trailer. So that's just my little rant on that, and let's move on to my next point. My second to last point I wanted to talk about, which I was really excited for this, is they had Zakhaev in this game. And that means that the Modern Warfare connection is there with Black Ops Cold War. So as of right now, the storyline would stand as World at War would be the first one in the campaign storyline for this game, because pretty much we know Black Ops 1 happened, because they reference Black Ops 1 quite a bit. We know Black Ops 1 happened, which means we know World at War happened. We also know that Black Ops Cold War and Modern Warfare are connected because you have Zakhaev in this campaign, and we know the original Modern Warfare campaign is going to not take place, and it's actually going to be this new 2019 one that's taking place. But parts of the original, so like in the Modern Warfare game in 2019, we actually heard Price say, "We almost buried Zakhaev in Pripyat with Macmillan," and we know that in the original campaign, you end up going and killing Zakhaev. But Zakhaev dies in this campaign, or in the 2019 campaign, and actually his son takes over. So we know that the Modern Warfare 2019 is the latest game in our shared universe now, because everything else has changed. And Black Ops 2 won't take place, but they do make a reference to Menendez in this game as like a little poster or something like that. So we know 2019 Modern Warfare is the latest game in our series at this current moment. So therefore, we know the story is going to be pretty linear from here, and they don't have much they can do before Black Ops Cold War. But with Modern Warfare, they can put a few things in between there, like they could go back and show like Simon Riley, how he plays in it all, give him his own story, or like Soap and give him his whole new story or something like that. But with that said, guys, I want to move on to my final point, which is I want to rant about the ending. So with the ending to this game, I honestly felt like it was a little pathetic. I don't know why, but the ending to me just seemed really weird. Because like they built all this up, and it's like, oh, we need to find Perseus, we need to find Perseus, we need to find Perseus. You never end up finding him. He's the bad guy. Just in case you want to know, and this is a spoiler video, he's the bad guy, the main villain. You never end up fighting him, you never end up killing him. There is no closure for me, and it made me so angry. And then in my playthrough, I ended up dying because Alder killed me. And I don't know if that's like the only ending you can have, because it would make sense for you to die, because they probably wouldn't be able to trust you, and you're never heard of in between Cold War and Modern Warfare 2019, which is the next campaign in the storyline. So yeah, I just didn't like the ending. I don't want to talk much about it. I want to know what you guys think of this game. What did you guys think of the campaign? Because if you're here, you've probably played it, or you just didn't care about playing it. So what did you guys think of the campaign? Let me know down in the comment section below, and I will talk to you guys in my next stream.